everyone, and welcome to our post-games interview updates. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil. Our show is brought to you by the U.S. Army Warrior Fitness Team, which provides awareness of Army opportunities while serving. Team members are active duty soldiers that compete in CrossFit, strongman, strong woman competitions, both nationally and internationally. To learn more, you can check out the link in our description. On today's show, we have the 7th fittest man on earth, Jayson Hopper. How's it going? Fresh off vacation.
Fresh off vacation is really good. Super restful. Body's feeling good. Mind's feeling good. It's good to be home. I'm a homebody, so it's been good.
How long were you away from home between like traveling to Madison, then going to Cancun, I think you said?
Yeah, we went to Cancun. We were probably gone for 2.5 weeks. I gotta come home for one day after the games, kind of pack up for Cancun, and then head out for another 6 days. So about 2.5 weeks.
Okay, I was going to ask if you went right from Madison to Cancun, because then how many bags would you have needed to pack and all the stuff that they give you?
There's no way I'm wearing Nike stuff, or I am wearing Nike stuff, Nike training stuff at Cancun. No, I'm going to pack some, collared shirts and stuff like that. So it was fun. We kind of brought it all back. We did a ton of laundry because we didn't want to stink up our house with dirty clothes. And then we repacked everything again, basically. So it was a good time.
How was it? Were you able to actually relax while you were on vacation, or was it still like you're in so much hyperdrive after the games and decompressing? What is that like?
No, I was relaxing. I had 2 books. I just started reading fiction books.
Wait. What do you mean you just started reading?
So normally I am a reader, but normally I read stuff that like helps me, like knowledgeable books that like help me in whatever I'm doing. And so
like mindset or CrossFit.
Yeah. Like self-help stuff. And I didn't want to read that in Cancun. Obviously I wanted some like entertainment, some like restful stuff. I wanted to rest. And so my wife is a huge reader, and she was like, you should read a book. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to read a fiction book. Like, that's kind of a waste of a time. Like, there's nothing I'm going to gain from that. And I bought 2 just in case, like, I'll get bored, get in Cancun and start want to read. So I went like Amazon. It was so hard. The hardest part was finding a book. Like, everybody had different opinions about every book. And I'm like, shoot, like when I watch Netflix or like a show, like I love like suspense and thrillers and like drama. So I was like, looking for a book with that kind of stuff. And so Amazon had hundreds of them. I had like spent like an hour on Google typing in like the best thriller book ever, some stuff like that. Anyways, pick 2 out. And
what did you find?
There's one book called Silent Patient. And
Silent Patient?
Yeah, Silent Patient. And then there's other one called The 620 Man. Both are like thriller, suspense, mystery type things. And when I tell you I started this book and couldn't put it down, like I seriously couldn't put it down.
Is it this one?
Yes, that's it.
Silent Patient?
Yeah, it's pretty.
So this is the one that you couldn't put down.
Couldn't put down. And every chapter was like 2 or 3 pages long. And they were all like cliffhangers.
I love that.
I'll get to the end of it and I'd be like, wow, I can really read 2 more pages. And that's how they got you. So you just like find yourself like one more chapter. It's only 2 pages. It'll take 4 minutes. And then you get to the other one. It's like a cycle that the author has you in that cycle. And so I couldn't put it down. I finished it in like 2 days and started the other one. I'm almost done with that one. So I might be a reader now.
So the biggest takeaway after the games was you learned that you love to read suspense.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. So you went on vacation, you relaxed, you're home now. Where's your mindset with actually decompressing and thinking about, your whole experience as your second time at the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, I've been able to like get away and like journal about a lot of experiences and like reflect on not only the games, but like this entire year in general. Like it was a long process. There was some ups and downs. There were some moments of frustration and really good moments all throughout the season. And I just got to like reflect and take a step back and just like think, like see big picture, like all like everything that happened in its own like in its way and how it like shaped me mentally and physically. And it was cool to just see the end result of, the season. It's not always like rainbows and sunshine, and like you don't really see all the other competitors, so like you don't really know what their season's looking like. So it's easy to like, wonder, am I doing the right thing? Am I progressing in the right way? Like all these thoughts, like you just see highlights on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so it was just cool to like to know like what I was on the right track. It just built a lot of confidence for next year. And so I spent a lot of time just journaling. I've spent a lot of time reflecting. I've spent a lot of time writing a lot of goals down and for next season and what I want to see changed and what I want to continue to progress in. So it's been a lot of like mental stuff really these last couple of weeks. Honestly, nothing physical. I'm not going to start working out again for another, 2 weeks. Just let the body,
So you and your wife didn't do any beach wads while in Cancun?
I rolled out a lot in Cancun. Actually, I went to the gym and rolled out. There was a rower and assault bike. It was kind of tempting, honestly. But no, I stayed off of it.
Getting into your games adventure, we'll call it this year. You made the ultimate comeback. I think the biggest jump forward on both the men's and the women's field. So before we get into the highlights of CrossFit, let's kind of peel back some of the layers and start at the beginning. You spoke on your social media kind of about this momentum as an athlete, as a former football player, that riding off the momentum is always what you want to do to start a competition or a game on the right foot. Did you fear, knowing that like you didn't start with the momentum, that the results could have potentially been similar to last year, having a slower start the way that you did this season or this year at the games rather?
Yeah, definitely had some like flashbacks to like last year, because last year I had similar like a day one, like after day one I was in 16th place, and now it's like, worse, way worse than that. I'm in 32nd.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of flashbacks, a lot of fear, like, am I going to be able to bounce back from this? Like, because the last thing I wanted was I didn't want the emotions from the earlier events to like play any part in the next event. And I think that's what happened last year. I just kept like bringing like the past event into the next event. Like I didn't pace this one well. I probably should be a little bit more cautious on this next one. And, like I would finish like in the middle of the pack on the next one because I just wasn't aggressive enough, And so like I was very cautious. I was very aware of that situation, but I was very cautious to do that. And so, yeah, I came in, I was in 32nd place at the end of day one, but I didn't want that to affect, how I paced or how I approached any other workout after that. So it was super just like, how do I flush this? How to like, it's over with, it's done with, like, I can't do anything about it. It's over and done with. How can I actually convince myself that the leaderboard is back at zero and it's a clean slate again? And so that's what I did. Obviously it's easier said than done. Obviously you don't want to, be in 32nd place after day one. And there are emotions attached with every event. But the people who are going to keep rising to the top are the people who are actually going to be able to handle those emotions in a way that is, mature and veteran like, And so that's what we try to do.
So do you think it was having like a year under your belt and knowing some of the mistakes that you made maybe with your mindset last year that helped you set yourself up for more success coming off of a bad event this year?
Absolutely. I knew that this year it wasn't about like last year. I felt like I had such like a microscope like lens of each event. Like it was all about like this one event affected like everything and affected like how I saw like how I looked at everything else. And so this time I had like a big picture perspective of like, okay, like it's not about one event. It's not about two events. It's not about three, but it's about the entire weekend as a whole. And I felt like I did really well, like seeing it like that, especially as the weekend got like went on. Like I would come in 30th place on, I think, Friday in the middle of the day. And I had like the best like attitude towards that. Like I could have, like, I just finished 5th in the Capital event. Then we went and did that re-muscle up workout and came in 30th place. And it put me back like 2 or 3 spots. And I responded in a way that was like, I was super proud of. Like, I didn't think of that specific event as, you know, something that was going to define my entire week. I just looked back, took a step back and said, hey, it's about the entire weekend as a whole. And I felt like I was maturing in that way as the weekend went on. And it just kept fighting. Like, there was going to be some moments that I hit some home runs and there was going to be some moments that I took a punch here and there. And so I just had to make sure that I was getting every point possible out of every single workout. And wherever I was at the end of the weekend, I mean, I was going to live with that.
When it comes to how the first event of the weekend, the bike to work, how much exposure had you had to like a road bike prior to that? Is that something that you normally train, or is like the type of bike different?
Yeah, I was way more familiar on a road bike than I was. This wasn't a mountain bike, but it wasn't a road bike. It was kind of like one of those, I don't even know what it was. Just a regular bike,
Yeah.
you know? I think it was more like a mountain bike than it was a road bike. And you just had to be familiar with it. And I wasn't as familiar with it as I was a road bike. I'm pretty familiar with a road bike. But a mountain bike, I mean, I've been mountain biking. I'm not very confident with it, you know, especially when you're going through like trees and whatnot. Like I'm very, I wouldn't say terrified, but you know, I definitely look at the ground when you're not supposed to be looking at the ground in front of you.
It looks like you're not looking at the ground. You're looking straight forward.
Yeah. Like I'm telling myself, I don't even know when that picture was taken. I was getting more comfortable as I went on. There was also no one around me. Doesn't look like in that
You
picture.
look like you're in the middle of nowhere.
It really does. Looks like I'm in like Kansas or something.
Yeah. I mean, you were in the Midwest, but.
So I wasn't very familiar. So that kind of like slowed me up a lot, especially in like turns. I feel like that was the biggest disadvantage I had, was like when it was like flat and like a good straightaway, I can like put the pedal down and really like push and use my body weight as an advantage and gain a lot of momentum and gain a lot of speed compared to other athletes. But it was like around the corner and like on the gravel, I mean, you were slipping a little bit, like. And so it was the people who were like very familiar with that sort of feeling were going to thrive in those moments. Whereas the people who weren't so familiar were going to be a little bit more cautious around those turns. And I was, you know, a lot more cautious than other people. So it was good. But yeah, I definitely need to be on some more mountain biking.
You said you asked Jay Crouch what lap you were on.
Yeah.
Is it like, I'm trying to think of like, as you're pedaling and you're going, did you just like shout the question to him, or
no, like
you guys like
Jay was on my butt pretty much the entire last 5 laps. I mean, it was like a group of
just drafting off of you.
Yeah, I was doing all the work. It was like Alex Vigneault, Jay Crouch, and maybe another couple people. But I just remember those 2 people. They were right behind me, and we were going really fast. Like we only had like, you know, 2 or 3 laps left. And I mean, we knew we were about to put the hammer down this last lap, and we were about to start our last lap. And he was right on my shoulder. And so I was like, he could hear me. I could talk like this and he could hear me. So I was like, what lap are we on? I was like, is this 5? And he was like, no, this is 4. So I was like, all right.
And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Right. Make you do an extra lap and then you see him.
Because it was like right. I asked him right on the big straightaway right outside the stadium. Mm-hmm. And that was my plan to like create the separation. Like I was on this last lap, I was going to literally put the hammer down and create that separation right off the get-go of this last lap. And this was going to be the way, this is going to be the place that I do it at, because it's just straight away and I'm going to use all my power to just get away. And had that like rubber band braking effect where it's like, once I'm out, then they're not even going to try to catch me. And so I had to know what lap we were on before I did that. And I wasn't sure, and so, but I'm glad I asked. There were some people who didn't ask, and I'm glad I asked.
Well, and that's the crazy thing. I was wondering if collectively people didn't really know what lap they were on, or if it was just like a misstep from a couple of people, or what was going on. Like, did you see any judges flagging you in, or was it really just make sure that you count your laps and come in when you
No,
should?
there was a judge flagging us in, but he was kind of far away. And I mean, you're riding on a bike, and I mean, you're only going to see him for, a split second before you pass him. And so it's super hard to like get his attention and, hear him, what he's saying. And he doesn't hear me. And so it's just you just got to count. As easy as that. Also, it's like, you're on there so long. You're on the bike so long, and it takes 3 minutes to do a lap. And for me, at least, I don't know about other people, but it's easy to forget things, And so I could start lap 4 and then focus on a million different things within 3 minutes of like pacing and, going around turns, and like my mind is not on what lap I am on. And then you finish a lap and you're like, oh, what lap am I on? Like it's just so easy to forget. And then the moment you start second guessing, you're like, am I on 4 or 5? Then it's like, you definitely are screwed if you don't find out,
Right.
So.
Well, I'm glad he was honest with you.
He was. I probably would have lied to somebody, honestly.
I was just going to say, that's where you learn which athletes like are here for the blood or here to like also be kind of a good human.
I know I can trust Jay now. Jay's my boy now.
Yes, you guys like have this special bond from day one of the games this year.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of new movements this year. It didn't look from your posts like you liked any of them in the skill speed medley.
No, I didn't.
Like,
I had
not
been
a
working
single one where you're like, oh, that's my saving grace.
What?
There was no movement that you're like,
none.
okay,
None of that.
No.
None of that. And I'm glad there wasn't, because I mean, when I saw that workout, I didn't feel very confident going into it. It was kind of more of a, just survive this, give your best. And I mean, I had worked my tail off on, skill stuff for an entire year. That doesn't mean like I'm going to walk into this workout and think it's, this is cake. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And I had progressed a lot in my own skills, whether it was, pegboards, or whether it was walking over a handstand course, or, doing all that kind of stuff we did. But there was just a part of me that was very cautious, and I feel like that event with it being a bracket style workout where you got cut, you had to be aggressive. And I just simply wasn't aggressive. I actually brought in, I made my first mistake like we discussed. I tried my best not to bring in past events into my planning. And I remember this was the only event that I did that, and I failed. I had fell off the pegboard last year in an event, like completely slipped out, and it cost me. I just got back up, but we don't have plexiglass pegboards, and so it's like hard to really train with them. And so I remember I was in like heat 3, and I saw so many people slipping out because they were going so fast and being so aggressive on the pegs. And I was like, dude, like the last thing I need is to like slip out of a pegboard, and like it cost me. And so I played it safe, and I cut off the pegs like 8 seconds behind everybody else. And at that point, it's like the whole workout was based on like high risk, high reward. Like if you don't go fast, then you're not going to make it, if you don't do fast single unders and they be unbroken, or you don't go fast on the pegboard, if you don't do fast pistol squats and like hold your balance, because if you touch the ground, you had to go back and do it again. Like you had to be aggressive on all of it. And I just simply wasn't, I wasn't in that like headspace, and didn't feel that confident to necessarily do that. I actually was thinking that if I played it safe and just got through, hopefully I would like barely get in the top 20, and then we can go from there. But it just so happened that everybody went super fast, and I didn't make that cut.
Slow and steady didn't pay off for that one.
Did not. Not.
Could you tell, like, when you were warming up, with some of those movements, just from like, I'm always curious if athletes during the warm up, especially when there's a new movement, if you're all kind of sizing each other up or if you're just so focused in what you're doing. What was that atmosphere like for you?
No, that was a workout that kind of you just put your blinders on and you don't really focus about anybody else. Like I knew that being a bigger athlete, it was going to be harder for me to do pistols. Not harder, but like slower. And for me, it was just execute, honestly. Like it was such a, like, you had to be so precise in everything that you did. Like if you failed, if you like failed doing 75 unbroken single unders, then you were pretty much screwed and you had to start over. And so it was, you didn't really want to focus on anybody else. You kind of just want to like, get through this workout as quickly as possible and it being as clean as possible and efficient. And so no, it wasn't really about anybody else. It was more about executing. And I knew if I executed, then everything else would take care of itself. And I mean, I did execute. I just didn't execute fast enough.
Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Moving on to elevated Elizabeth. You mentioned that you felt like your judge doubled down on the strict standard after you had this like little chat about, oh, like you were at my L1. Do you think that the judge was unfair? Do you feel like the standards were like better this year? What are your thoughts kind of on that whole topic?
No, I was giving her a hard time when I told her I thought the standards, she doubled down. She was a great judge. Forgot her name, honestly, but she did do my L1, an amazing woman. But I thought the standards were good. I don't really get myself like caught in that kind of stuff. And I mean, that's just wasted energy to really focus on. Like the standards are what they are. Like, no, I'm not going to like change that based on whatever I say at the games. Like, oh, I don't like that standard. And they're not going to be like, okay, Jayson doesn't like that standard. We need to change the standard. Like, so the standard is what it is. And I mean, I just need to, submit to that standard basically, and so, I mean, the outcome will be what it is. Like, and so I don't really waste my time thinking about that. Like, here's the workout, do my best, make it clean. So I'm not a problem to the judge and live with the result.
So with kind of the slow start to your games week, how did you take that energy and have it light your fire? Or maybe there's another way that you want to explain it to help you make this ultimate comeback that ultimately put you in 7th place overall.
Yeah, I don't think it lit a fire in me per se. I got to the end of Wednesday night and I knew that those 3 workouts were like it was high skill gymnastics. There was a lot of gymnastics all day that day. We hadn't really done a workout that I was like super confident with. I was out of the 3, I was obviously more confident with the first one because it had a lot of biking in it.
Yeah.
But the other 2, I wasn't very confident per se. And so when we got done, I knew that there was going to be plenty of opportunities. I mean, there was 3 events, and those 3 events were not going to define, the rest of the week. There was 10 more to do, and 1,000 points left. And
yeah, that's a lot of points left.
It's a lot. It's a lot of points, and I just had to like think in that frame of mind. And the next event was on Thursday, and I mean, if those first 3 workouts, like I said, I was like, it's about the entire weekend as a whole. Those first 3 workouts could have been spread out in different ways, and I could have been in 7th place after day 1. I could have been in 10th place after day 1. I could have been in 15th. It just so happened that those first 3 were the way they were. We got rained out on the field, so that got moved to Thursday. So it just so happened to be the first 3 workouts that we did, and they were, the 3 worst of the weekend or out of the weekend. And I just had to think in that frame of mind. Like, it was about the accumulation of the entire weekend as a whole. And I knew that going in, like I said, I didn't want day one to affect how I, my effort on day two. And that was the one thing that I wanted. The next event was on Thursday. I'm a pretty good runner, pretty good at lifting the barbell under fatigue. And I knew that was going to be the kind of the workout that I had to really capitalize on. And that was my moment to not bring in day one into day two and kind of just go for it. Like, it was another one of those workouts that was really high risk, high reward, and you could run super fast and have a lot of time to lift the barbell. And that's what I did. I felt super confident running super fast and walking up to the barbell and being able to lift that weight. And since it was 200 points, I mean, that was a massive opportunity for me to really bounce back after a day one. And so I did that, and it paid off. Went from 32nd to 16th. And at that point, I mean, I knew I was back in it.
Did you get excited when you saw that they were going to use the platforms versus a like rig for the barbell?
Oh, I didn't know they were thinking about using a rig.
No. I'm not saying that that's what they were thinking, but just I think this might be like the first time that we've seen at the games that they used like platforms for
Yeah. No, I thought it went smoothly. I like the platforms, honestly. It was unique, for sure.
I thought that was definitely cool to watch. Now I'm going back. I'm just watching like some of the videos on your Instagram, but with that sandbag, I think I spoke to you before you had left for Cancun, and you were saying that you got to the floor and whatever it was you lifted, you're like, oh, this will be a PR, but there were still 30 athletes on the floor. And you're like, so what? Am I going to take 30th for a PR?
Yeah.
Like, kind of walk us through that whole scenario. I'll bring this.
Well, I was like, so they announced this event and we start warming up, and we haven't touched, I mean, most of us haven't touched a sandbag over, 200 pounds, I mean, I've had my hands on 250, but nothing like this. And we were all warming up, and I remember we were messing around with different techniques. There was really two techniques that everybody was kind of going with. There was like the hot dog style, where you just grab that thing like a hot dog, bring it up to bring it up. The way I was doing it was called the hot dog style. And there was one where it was like,
oh, that's funny.
The sandbag was turned another way, and you kind of like, you went wide, and brought it. It was the way that Justin was doing it.
Okay.
And so we were playing around with it, and the only bag they had was 240, 260, and 300 in the warm-up area. That's all.
Oh my God.
And so
how do you even warm up?
I know. So we were warming up with 240, and it felt pretty easy. Like it wasn't very hard. Everybody was hitting 240. Then we all walk over to 260, and I mean, it's a little bit more challenging. Like, it's pretty heavy. I mean, we were all hitting it. There wasn't really people failing it. But I mean, it was heavy. And then there was but I mean, you looked at 300 and it was like, dude, I mean, I don't think anybody in the warm-up area thought we were all going to hit 300. Like, we watched, there was like 3 people that hit 300 back there. It was Justin.
Wow.
I think Dallin hit 300. I think Andre Houdet hit 300. That's the only 3 people that I saw. And there was a lot of people who tried to pick that thing up, couldn't get it up. I didn't even try it. And so I'm like nervous back there. I'm like, dude, I'm 220 pounds. Like, I should easily win this event. Like, this is just body moving a sandbag. Like, I have all the weight behind me. Like, this should be my event, and that's not what I'm thinking about. Like, I'm thinking about having the wrong technique. Like, I just don't want to go out there and just have the wrong technique and waste this event. And so I also had this like little pressure on me. Like, I knew people thought I would do really well in this event, and I didn't want to like let them down, like, I didn't want to be that guy that like goes out there and takes 30th in like the sandbag event when I'm supposed to like succeed in this. And so I was a nervous wreck back there, honestly. So we all go out there, and we're all just hitting bags, and it's a lot easier. than it was in the warm-up area, but we're getting heavier and heavier, and I'm getting super nervous. Like we're getting to 280, and I'm really nervous because no one's out yet, and I'm thinking everybody, like at least some people should be out by now, and nobody is. And then just every bag, I'm like a nervous wreck. Like the first like 5, there's 30 people left. It's like if I don't hit this bag, then I come in 30th, and that was a big deal. And so I'm nervous, and it wasn't easy. And we get to 300, and I'm like, dude, I saw 3 people hit this bag, and I know this is gonna be heavy, and I think majority of the people hit it. Like there was like 20, like I don't know, 30 of us that hit it. And I walked up to the bag like thinking like, dude, I'm gonna hit a PR. Like this could be my best lift tonight. Like personally, I would be proud if I hit this, and the result is like not gonna match that effort.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit it, and it was so weird. Like the easier bags, you could bring it to your hip and kind of just like throw it up. And it was like, it was hard, but it was different because the heavier that it got, the harder it was to like use all that momentum to get it up. You had to like catch it on your chest and kind of like just, inch it up as time, which was for me way easier because all you got to do is like catch it right here. And then you kind of just grunt it up over time. And so as we went through the event, it progressively kind of got easier for me. And so, but the first 5, it was rough for me mentally. I was walking back and forth. You could see you see all the pictures, all the videos from that event. Like you could see like me pacing back and forth, being nervous.
You look like a tiger, like a lion.
Those were like the first 5 events. Like I'm trying to like psych myself out, like to be able to do this. Like, come on, like, dude, you got to do this or you fail, And then as we get heavier and more people are getting out, and I'm getting more comfortable with the style that I'm working with, I'm smiling a lot. I'm having fun. Like, and then there's like 5 of us left. When I was in the top 10 and then knew I'd be a top 10, like that's when I was like, all right, let's have a good time. Like, yeah, I'm okay if I get out here and I come in 10. But let's just see how far we can go. And I wanted to hit 350. It slipped, and I couldn't get it back in that position.
Yeah, you and everybody else. 340, man.
I don't know why Brent didn't hit 350.
Yeah.
But it was a good time.
It was really fun to watch, and especially like seeing you ended up getting 4th in that workout or in that event.
Yep.
Looking back, at what point did you know that you were going to be in the top 10? Like, do you watch the leaderboard? Do you track like the points, or does your team do that and kind of keep you out of the direct loop?
No, I was looking at the leaderboard.
You're at night and on your phone, just like scrolling.
Yeah. You look at it, don't do an event. 10 minutes later, it's like, all right, I forgot what it looked like. I'm going to go look at it again. And then you refresh it, open something's going to change, but it doesn't. And then it's like a cycle. It's very unhealthy, actually.
Hi, I'm Jayson Hopper, and I have a problem.
I would say, so the goal was top 10 from the get-go. Like there was some other goals that I had for myself as far as like effort goes and leaving in a way that I was proud of. But the result goal was top 10, and I wasn't necessarily in control of that. That's why it was a goal that I'm in control of my effort, and I'm in control of like leaving this place like proud of what I'm able to accomplish personally. I'm not in control of how others perform, and so that was kind of a goal that I didn't give too much weight to, but I really wanted top 10. I was 19th last year, and I worked my tail off this past year, and I just wanted to see that all that work from an entire year. I wanted to see all that within the result at the games. And I didn't feel like 11th at the games was a big enough jump after all the work I put in. It's just a number that I wouldn't be satisfied with. But I'd be satisfied with 10. It's something in the mind. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I knew that I'd be top 10 after Thursday. After the 200 points event, I was in 16th, and I was down by like 20 points or so to 10. And I knew the next event was going to be the capital event. And I was going to put the hammer down on that one as well. And that was going to, put me in the top. Like, I thought I was going to go to 10. Well, I did go to 10 after that event. And then I just knew that momentum was going to, like I said, the moment I get some momentum, I personally feel unstoppable. Like whether I am unstoppable or not is up to your own perspective, but I feel unstoppable, and it's just how I feel. And that's all that matters. And so I knew after I got 200 points, and I had a bad day one, but I was 24 points out after that day, to 10th place in my goal. Then I knew that there was going to be more events that come. I knew there was going to be some more opportunities to really bounce back. And I mean, we had done a bunch of gymnastics. I don't know how much more gymnastics we could do, but we could do a lot of other stuff. And so, yeah, just kind of rode that momentum all throughout the weekend.
I mean, it paid off. Your goal was top 10 and you got 7th. That's exceeding your goal.
Yeah, I was super happy.
How has working with this lovely crew, the HWPO crew, how has that impacted your season, your training? What has it been like with this crew?
Man, they have helped me. Every one of those people in that picture has helped me tremendously. They just helped me in every way possible, whether it be Keith has helped me, process things and think about things, and just, I wouldn't be who I am mentally without O'Keefe. And, working with Matt, he's helped me and helped me change things, like to my approach to things and the details of things, and, how to like move efficiently in workouts and what to think about, just, the whole 9 yards. And Jake has been, my day-to-day guy. And, if I'm having a bad day, he's there to be like, bro, you need to calm down. Like, it's just a bad day. So hard on myself. And so, man, the whole group it's been a blessing. Even working with Mal, for the last 6 months has been a huge help, like being beat by her a lot in the workouts and being pushed by her and challenged by her. I mean, all of it, but it's been a group effort, and they've helped me a ton. And, before I was working with them, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I feel like when I started working with Matt, he kind of opened my eyes to like what being a professional looks like within this sport. And I just kind of trusted that, and I want the same things that he accomplished. And I'm willing to do all those little minor things that he kind of advised me on. And so they've helped, and the work and the details that he taught me along the way have paid off.
How often do you and Mal throw down together?
Whenever I go to Vermont, all the time. She's tough to beat. She even beats me on some echo bike workouts.
Are you kidding me, Jayson? Come on, dude. You're like twice the size of her.
We do different. We don't do the same amount of cows, but she still beats me. If she was beating me doing the same amount of cows, I might need to quit.
You're like, okay, I got to find a different career at this point.
Yeah. Well, she's great. We get along really well. We got really close this past season, and it's been fun.
Do you plan on spending more time in Vermont this season, or was it like a good balance on the amount that you were at home in South Carolina versus going and traveling?
No, I plan on going up there. I mean, they're busy, they got a lot of stuff going on. So it's whenever there's some times when I'm a homebody. And so there's some seasons where I just want to, stay here for a long time and, not leave for 2 months. And there's some times where I'm just like, all right, I'm going here. I'm coming back for a week and I'm going back, So it depends on the season. Like during this last games, I was up there, 3 times and within, a month and a half. And earlier in the season, I'd go 2 or 3 months without going up there. So it just depends on what the season is, where the season is, like what's coming up and stuff like that.
All right. When can we expect to see you again? Well, off-season competitions are in the works right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to Rogue. And then
your official invite?
Got my official invite to Rogue.
Nice.
Then I plan on going team with 2 other athletes at Waza to be determined. I know who they are, but everybody else doesn't.
Okay, let's play a game. Give us like a teaser, like describing who they are without like giving it away. That kind of like a little cliffhanger. Come on.
Yeah, think of. Okay. Well, they both went to the games. That doesn't help you though, because
right.
They both went to the games.
That's not a good teaser.
I don't know.
Okay. Like what color is their hair, or do they not have hair?
Well, this would definitely give it away because there's only like one person with this kind of hair.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, if you looked at all the guys, there's only a select few with this kind of hair. All right, I gotta stop.
Oh, I love that. Okay, height.
Small. Everybody's small.
Well, if it was somebody tall, then that also would probably give it away. So.
Yeah. Okay, we're done here. I haven't even got.
Okay.
Yeah.
When can we expect you to reveal who's on this team?
After Rogue.
Oh man, you're really holding out on us for a while.
Well, the reason I have to hold out is because we have to wait until the entire team is confirmed to go to Rogue, because we all need an indie competition.
Okay.
And if one of these people don't end up going to Rogue, which is undecided yet, then they will most likely do Wodapalooza as an indie. But if we all go to Rogue as indie, I'm trying to talk through this without giving anything away.
I'm listening so intently.
I'm slowly piecing my sentences together. If we all go to Rogue and we're looking for a good time, then we won't do a competition indie out of Wodapalooza, and we'll do team all together.
Okay. I hope that you all officially get your invites. I'm excited to either get off this call and put the puzzle pieces together myself, or
I would love to see some guesses.
I know. That's kind of what I want to start is you should put a social post. You know what? I'll take the liberty of clipping this together, and we'll get it in the Morning Chalk Up comments, and we'll see if anybody guesses correctly. And that'll be a little fun game.
I think that'll be funny. That'll be funny.
Well, Jayson, it was so much fun catching up with you. Congratulations, man. Huge comeback. Even if you look at from last year's games experience to this year, just putting in the work.
Yeah.
Doing what you need to do.
Thank you. I'm excited for next season.
Us too. We'll see you then at Rogue.
Well, thank you. We'll see you.
Well, yes, I'll see you. You'll see me. We'll have another conversation, and I'll try to I'll try to be so hey, we're at Rogue now. Can you make the announcement here live on the channel?
Sunday night on Rogue.
Okay, perfect. I will pencil you in right now.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks, Jayson.